We are here for Money in the Bank predictions. Andres, welcome back. We were supposed to have Everlasting Ever was supposed to make his return, but he couldn't. And then we were supposed to have a returning guest, Jose. He couldn't make it either. It's all right, but Andre, thanks for not pulling out. That's what she said. So what's up, man?
Oh,
How
she
you
definitely
been?
said that.
Ooh,
Pretty
yeah,
good,
yeah.
man. It's Fourth of July tomorrow. The fireworks gonna be going. Just looking forward to the 3 day.
Man, you got a 3 day weekend. I got a 4 day weekend.
And a half. But yeah,
You got three and a half.
yep.
I'm off tomorrow. I'm off. Well, 4 day weekend. So yeah, obviously. So any big plans for the weekend?
Not much, man. Just watch Money in the Bank. There's too many tourists in Chicago with the NASCAR thing going on. Um, and it's Fourth of July weekend, so everyone's gonna start acting like a tourist in their own city.
Yeah, it's funny because unless you live in the city or you're a city person, everybody else is gonna basically stay home, be in their own comfort zone, being in their own backyards until nighttime. That's where they're probably gonna go out, go see the fireworks. But everybody is gonna come all the way over here to Chicago to see the fireworks, the NASCAR race, everything. A lot of things, a lot of activity goes down in the city of Chicago. It's just
Yeah, and with the
crazy.
way that things are going on right now, I'd rather not be there. I did it when I was a kid with my parents. I outgrew that. I did it as an adult, and I'm like, yeah, that this is not worth it. Coming all the way down here, being crowded, and then everyone's gonna be in a bad attitude. So rather just enjoy it from afar.
Facts, you're not wrong. Plus, we're gonna be watching Money in the Bank anyways. Um, it's gonna be in Toronto. Pretty excited for that. And also everybody hit that like and subscribe. Also, New Entry Wrestling. Uh, but Money in the Bank, I'm actually excited. I don't know why, but tell me why. Why do I keep thinking that it's gonna be in a baseball arena, but it's actually just in a regular basketball arena? Is it because it keeps like they can because it's like the big five now, and I feel like it's gonna be in a baseball feel, but it's actually in an arena.
I don't know. I mean, what we're so used to the dome being used for Toronto. Um, to hear that's in Toronto and it's just in a lesser revenue, it's like hey, what? Um, They'll see that there's still tickets that are being advertised, not just for that night, but also for the SmackDown leading. Um, I'm just going to be looking forward to it. And wow, I guess Uso's requirement for traveling outside the country no longer necessary because if you recall, the last few years he wasn't able to travel to Toronto or other or certain countries. So I guess enough time since his DUI has passed for him to be allowed to re-enter some of these foreign countries,
Yeah, because that
especially one
it
that's in the
explains
match.
yeah, it explains Jacob as well. And also Jay Uso is on the flyer of Money in the Bank. Um so yeah, it's kind of I guess yeah, you're right. I guess it's voided unless they're able to work out an agreement where like I'm telling you, I could have swear I heard that even if you have a record, you're still able to travel, but it's not with an employer. So I feel like
Well, that must if you recall, last year the the February pay per view before WrestleMania and Roman Reigns, that was in Canada,
right.
and the Usos were not allowed to travel. That's why Solo was the one that interfered because he doesn't have a record, whereas Jimmy and Jay
Mm,
had. It's not just their history of DUIs and DWIs. They had DU or DWI. One of them had one around the time of SummerSlam the year before, and then the other one had one, I don't know, sometime between January and WrestleMania time.
So you're basically
So
they're clean then. Their record is clean.
for right now, we know it's Jay Uso for sure.
And
And if
Jacob, obviously.
and if Jacob Fatu is being advertised, then either some recent law, at least in Canada, that is permitting them. Otherwise, other nations, I think they still have those restrictions on them. That's why you had to wait for a certain SmackDown for Jacob Fatu to.
And we'll find out on SmackDown. But for me, I thought what was gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie, I really thought by now that Nick Aldis was gonna make an announcement that Jacob is suspended. And that way he won't be there for
SmackDown, so you could still add that twist to it this Friday night coming.
Yeah. Oh, and then Solo could just say, "Oh, I sent him home. He's not gonna be here for SmackDown and Money in the Bank." Solo could just say that too.
Yeah, he's suspended for putting.
Yeah. So
that could be the rule. Like, hey, we either suspend all of you, and you guys all forfeit your match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna work something out. Or again, he's just able to travel, and we did all this for nothing. So
it was actually a good place for Paul to be put through the table. It's managed. He's home. It gave him the time to spend the weekend with his kids. He's a New Yorker, so it was pretty much like a hey, take some time off, Paul.
yeah, and then plus this Money in the Bank, Paul Heyman's not needed anyways for this match. It's just gonna be interesting when does Paul Heyman come back? And then when he comes back, is he gonna come back with Roman Reigns? Is he gonna come back with somebody else? Is he gonna come back with CM Punk after Punk is done with Drew? So I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. I'm curious if clearly this has to be the main event, right? It's like it's the only one with the story.
Yeah, the brief. I think the briefcase match has to be what it is closing one, so that you can have the rest of the pay per view being the title. So more than likely, the men's are going to be the closes. I think the women will be the one that opens the pay per view, and then we're in the middle is where you're going to have the 6-man tag match, just so that strong start, a decent filler man match, and then you close off with the pay per view briefcase match, the main event.
Yeah.
And if we know Triple H, that's more than likely going to be the card with multiple mid card matches in between.
And it's probably going to be
with all the things.
It's probably going to be the one match that's going to have the most interference.
Oh, it's definitely going to have the most time. Yeah, you're going to have the most time because every participant has a rivalry that's going on.
Right.
I don't think you ever had, of all the Money in the Bank ladder matches, this is probably the only one that has something outside of the match. Whereas other Money in the Banks they're focused on either the world title being up for grabs, the briefcase being up for grabs, all building up. They're creating their own rivalry within the match. This one, every single participant has some sort of rivalry going on with somebody outside of the match. You have, I guess you could say, maybe Andrade is.
Andrade is the wild card in this match. He's the wild card, and he's my pick for this match.
As much as I want him to win this year's, I think he will pivot for next year.
How can you say for next year, not this year?
Because I want him to win the IC title well before he wins the briefcase. I don't want.
He could use the briefcase to cash in on Sami Zayn.
True, but I'd want him to have that clean win over him the way he should have had the clean win over Ray when he won the U.S. title.
Mm. So you want him to like be a baby face on?
Not so much a babyface, just like Braun Breaker is now, or the way he was in NXT, having to destroy Drew's arm in order to take the NXT title off of him.
Mm.
I want to see him be that aggressive again on the main roster to yank the IC title off of Sammy.
Mm. Yeah, that guy's from Daragua, man. That guy's tough. He's a cowboy for real, man. That guy's definitely for the rancho. So who's your pick for the Money in the Bank briefcase on?
For the women, I will say Chelsea Green makes the most sense where she's at. You know, she's been behind Dewdrop for the longest,
Mm.
and she's been a second fiddle to everybody else. And while you could say the same thing for Zoe Stark is still finding her footing in the main event. If they ever create a mid roster, I think that would be the first person to go after that belt, and then to build a rivalry between and Shayna.
Mm-hmm.
But I think her and Shayna should be the next duo to titles from the women's division, and then let them have a legit run, have a stellar run, and make that whole tag title, the tag team division, meaningful. We've had too many champions since Nikki Cross that have just been holding the belts, not necessarily defending them. You know, they were more like novelties, especially like when Asuka and the Kabuki Warriors, right? They've
Kabuki Warriors.
both title reigns, they were more like novelties for them. They didn't necessarily need the tag titles. It was the same as putting the titles on Shinsuke. It was just so they can be decorated, not necessarily defending champions. And that's what I want to see out of Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler if they don't introduce a women's mid-card title on the main roster. Chelsea, as I said, she's the best fit for the briefcase.
And she'll work with the briefcase. She'll make it fun. She'll do something.
She'll
put it on the line. Yeah, and she's like,
this specific thing is meant for a cowardly that's going to hide behind someone. And who does she have? Piper Niven, Dewdrop. It's going to be her muscle, and it's going to be another Alexa Bliss / Nia Jax rivalry. Eventually, she's going to say, "I got you the title. I hope you keep the title. Now you're going to either hand the title to me, or I'll have to take it from you."
Mm.
Then it builds either Piper Niven to be the next either women's champion or just be another monster obstacle for Chelsea Green, where either she eventually becomes a face or the next face champion has to come over her and, you know, give her that build as a heel. You know, she's, I don't know, maybe just to become the women's Big Show that constantly turns and turns and turns.
Yeah, she's a character. She's a diva. She says,
and everybody else in the match, everybody else is just so they can have the women to fill the gap. I don't see.
Yeah. Zoe.
I don't see a rookie. I don't see a rookie winning it. I don't see somebody who's been world in main event status winning it, and I don't see a babyface winning for a while. The women's Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Io Sky. I mean, she's a good pick, but the thing is, she won it last year. If it wasn't for that, Io Sky would be a nice choice. But besides that, like you said, I mean, there's Tiffany. The thing with Tiffany is
she's a little too green right now.
It'd be like, and she's more. Tiffany is she's in the beginning stage where Chelsea Green was when she first started.
Yeah.
She has the gimmick, she has the character. The fans love her, but we're still getting used to it. Like, don't push her right away.
Give her some time. Give her some time. She'll get there.
She'll get there. Yeah. Don't give her the Roman Reigns treatment.
I think the next person who should win Money in the Bank after Chelsea should be Dakota Kai.
Ooh, okay. Yes.
Let her be on that run right now where she's saying she's not the weak link of Damage Control.
You would say not Royal Rumble?
Not unless she pulls off. Not unless if she pulls off a 97. But in her case, it wasn't because it was an accident. She in the right spots and the right. She waited for the right time,
Mm.
kind of thing.
I would say have her win the Rumble, fails, doesn't win at WrestleMania, and then win the briefcase. And then that's where she does the whole, because I will have her turn face then. So when she wins the Royal Rumble, she's a face. WrestleMania face, Royal Money in the Bank briefcase face. But then when she cashes in, heel turn. I would do
I
it
mean, you
that
could always
way.
have her be one. You could always have her be, if not one of the final four, one of the with Io,
Oh,
and if
triple
not Io
threat.
if not eliminating her, she tries to eliminate Io, and it kind of builds that tension that she's trying to show that she's capable of being in that spot.
Right.
But she give it for next year's for sure.
So Chelsea
As long as she
Green,
stays healthy. As
yeah,
long as she,
so yeah, that's true for all of them. So we both agreed on Chelsea Green. Men's ladder match. I'm gonna go with Andrade, but my second choice, I'm gonna say Drew McIntyre.
I have three choices, and the only reason I have Drew is so that CM Punk, whatever involves Drew, it's gonna CM Punk screwing him over one way
Right.
or another, just so that it builds the match. So if it's just so that he can try and cash in, and CM Punk's already there. He's
Mm.
already there waiting. Costs him the match. Obviously, builds their slam. Um, but one way or another, I think for the most part, it's going to come down to either Jay or Chad, and it's going to be because Drew is going to be the only one standing in the ring. Everyone's on the outside. Jay and Chad are popping in the ring, on the floor, immobile, and here comes CM Punk.
Mm.
But it doesn't close there. If it's Chad Gable, it closes with him being stalked by the 6'6".
The YA6.
He'll he'll have his Kurt Angle No Mercy celebration, holding the briefcase up in the air,
I was
and
gonna say,
then
like, so he wins,
dunk,
right? He gets the
dunk,
briefcase.
and then you hear the loud sound of the
Mm.
lights shutting off, and standing behind him is actually Uncle Howdy.
Damn.
But it's after he sees on each side of the ring. Each man looks to the left, there's Nikki Cross. He looks to the right, there's Dexter. Then he looks to the left again, there's back and forth. Every time he looks back until he turns around, and there's Uncle Howdy. And then you close the show. But that's if Chad Cable wins. If it's Jey Uso, it'll be because of CM Punk, and I do feel that's try to get involved to try to lure him back into the bloodline.
Mm. Now hold on. So because of the Monday Night Raw, the Jey Uso, Bray Wyatt, because there's rumors who is Uncle Howdy going after, Jey Uso or Chad Gable. Some are saying Jay, some are saying Chad, some are saying either. It's just to throw us off, right? Now you're saying Solo's trying to recruit him. Now, that's cool and all that for your fantasy booking, but I'm kind of curious how you will have that play out because he is going to be in the 6-man tag team match, right? And then what if
Right.
he is in the main event? So how would you still? I mean, you would have to be in a lot of details for that. On how would you book that? Uh, so it's just like, but before you tell me the details, who do you think Uncle Howdy's going after, Jay or Chad?
I think it's Chad be not necessarily in the sense of starting a match just yet, but I think it should lead to a match. But I think it's to kind of build his passion.
Mm.
Um,
Because I think you said last time that Chad Gable is gonna have his own team angle where it's gonna be the Creed brothers.
I mean, as soon whoever he cashes in, he's going to have one or two matches more with that world champion. Everybody else is going to start having a rivalry. You're going to need to have Chad go after somebody afterwards, and
Mm.
I think that's when eventually he'll have. I don't know if his match necessarily with
Because I feel like
or if
they're gonna.
he's or
I feel like Chad Gable, if he wins the briefcase, I don't think they're gonna say unless Triple H is going for that Kurt Angle and be like, we're just gonna give him the title and run with it. But I'm pretty sure if Chad Gable wins, I'm pretty sure he's gonna go after the IC title that he's gonna cash it in on Sami Zayn. And that way he could win the title that way and then run with the title. But like I feel like, dude, I as much as I love the Creed brothers and they're fantastic and a fantastic team, but I feel like Otis turning heel and helping Chad Gable win the IC title would be so much better. So much better. Especially Maxine Dupree. Oh, I love her. She's so gorgeous. But now let's go to you say Jay Uso. If Jay Uso wins, you say Solo is gonna interfere. Or sorry, interfere, like
on
cause
his
him to
behalf. Yeah.
win, to help him win or
If not cause
lose.
him to win, maybe just show up after the match and kind of like applaud him, right?
Mm.
Planting the seeds for going. Then he shows up either if not this night after, he'll show up the week after and try and talk to him and tell him this bloodline isn't the bloodline he grew up in. Charge. Roman's not around. Roman is the one that kicked you out of the wanted to be with you. I wanted my brothers with me.
Right.
But Roman overlooked you and kind of like planting the seeds, reminding him about all the things that Roman did to him. He put you in that hell in the cell because he didn't think you were good enough. He used our brother against you to make you say I quit. And then and remember he wanted you
True.
because he wanted an easy paycheck.
Right.
But who was the one that he turned you against your own friend, Sammy, our friend. And now we hate him. Plant the seeds, build it up. Let Jay think about it. Like let Jay thinking a little bit on Jay.
Yeah,
Obviously you'll eventually get Sammy
because
against
the story is not just Solo and Roman. It's Solo and Jimmy, Solo and Jay, Solo against both of them, Solo Roman. It's just there's so much matches that we have to see. It's not just one. It's like when it comes to professional wrestling, it's like a movie. In a movie you get small fight scenes here and here, but in professional wrestling it's like it builds up in weeks. Sometimes we get it
and
televised, sometimes it's premium live events, pay-per-views and all that. So it's like if we get small matches like these, it's just like it's gonna tell a great, like that final match is gonna be fantastic.
and then don't forget the Fatus are not just Samoan. They're half Tongan.
Yeah,
So they could always say, we ain't no Samoan bloodline. We're
that's
Tongans.
that's a different storyline.
Uh, so I think, and it's because also wants to build the bloodline army that Roman failed to build. Roman was so fixated on world champion and having sidekicks, he didn't see the bigger picture. So he's I'm having everyone in the family involved. I'm
Mm.
not just centered around Roman. He says, and you got the money in the bank briefcase. You're guaranteed to be the world champion. And then try to plant the seeds of, and we're going to make sure that's going to happen.
Mm. But then, okay, but then obviously Jey Uso's gonna turn it down.
Well, not
So
right
we,
away. You'll just see him showing up, and whether he wins the brief, cashes in on his own.
oh well, yeah, they're both in the brand split. So it's not like Solo could just show up on Raw every week. It's most likely those premium live events where it's
and,
like
and then who
SummerSlam.
knows?
Yeah,
Maybe he wins it. He'll try to hint him to say, Cody's there. Here, come get him. Like
right.
trying to feed him to him.
Mm,
This is all we'll do this all for you, kind of thing.
yeah. Damn.
And and then it slowly builds eventual bloodline war. The Usos on Roman. It's
Bloodline,
the planting the
bloodline.
seeds.
And what pay-per-view are they trying to bring back for October? Bad
Bad blood.
blood. Bad blood,
But
baby.
then what's the war games going to be? Also, Usos
Woo!
or bloodline versus bloodline,
Oh my gosh.
Crips
And
and
I
Bloods, blue and red.
you got hey that match that cannot happen at California or New York or Chicago.
Or yeah, definitely Chicago,
And that match has to happen like that has to be overseas. So
or in the urban neighborhood
but
of all.
besides the color, I feel like if we are gonna get the bloodline versus bloodline, Madison Square Garden, I feel like personally it's the place to, have that. I feel like if we're gonna get Roman Reigns also, like Roman Reigns versus Solo, Madison Square Garden, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes 3, Madison Square Garden. There's so many matches I feel like that should take place at Square Garden. And I'm surprised that they don't do that much premium live events in Madison Square Garden as well.
Well, as I mentioned in one of the previous podcasts, it was a Vince thing. It was home of professional wrestling, but his focus was more on um, football stadiums. Sure, we still went to the Allstate Arena because the acoustics in there are so great that they're able to they're able to hear off the walls and coming back to them. Um, and I don't think Vince is a fan. I don't think Vince was ever a fan of the United Center after. Why you never really saw anything going back there. It was always the Rosemont Horizon, Allstate Arena afterwards. And
Or it'll be at the Rockford, Illinois, or it'll be in Bloomington, Illinois, or Champaign, Illinois. They don't even go to it's been years since they've been in the city, which is a good thing. I don't blame them. So, but no, I'm just saying, I feel like you would think Madison Square Garden, they will have more premium live events there, especially for SummerSlam. When they started, if they were going to do this whole, hey, let's start selling out the whole arena, I would think Madison Square Garden would be the first stop to do that. And because they done it for the Royal Rumble, like back at 08. And but the first one they started doing that for was Survivor Series, but that was because CM Punk's return. And CM Punk's return is actually the start of all that to, hey, let's just open more seats in the arenas. So,
well, the next pay per view that comes to Chicago, I hope they did for Survivor Series. Put a lower Titantron. Use all the seats available, man. Really pack that house.
yeah. Just have tickets cheaper.
Yeah. Fix the chairs while they're at it. Those chairs are damn uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I know.
With all that extra money, remodel the place. Remodel the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that nobody is picking LA Knight and Logan Paul to be a briefcase holder.
Because it's obvious that now that Logan lost to LA Knight, he's likely gonna. I said that's the match for all the interferences
Yeah.
So you're gonna likely see Logan screw over LA Knight.
Yeah, because you got Jay and Chad Gable. They're in the story with this Y6. Carmelo Hayes and Andreas are like the wild card, and Drew McIntyre has CM Punk. So, but you say you got Chad Gable, you got Jay. I got Andrade, and I got Drew McIntyre. Um, Women's, you say Chelsea, I say Chelsea. Tiffany is my second pick. I don't know if you have a second pick for the women's.
No.
Damian Priest, Seth freaking Rollins. Damian Priest, if Damian Priest wins, Rollins would never challenge for the world title as long as Damian Priest is champion. If Rollins wins, Seth freaking Rollins wins. I don't know why I keep saying Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins wins. Damian Priest must leave the Judgment Day, which is not fair because not only does he have to leave the group, he loses the title. That's not fair. Uh, Damian Priest, I think two things is gonna happen. Either JD or Finn Balor or obvious Liv Morgan. One of these three people is gonna almost cost Damian Priest. And then the other, whichever one of these three costs the match, the other one of these three is gonna be the reason why Damian was able to retain his title. So that's what's gonna happen.
100% agree. That's what I was thinking also.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's going to be Finn. I think it's going to be Finn that's almost costing the title. That saves him.
who saves them.
JD. I think he's going to be the one that helps him retain it, so that it makes Damian kind of start second guessing. You had that tension. You had that little tease on Raw,
Right.
when Finn approached Damian, telling him, "Hey, Liv helped us. I don't know why you're still, kind of like, I don't know why you're still kind of hung up on Rhea, kind of almost like she's not here. She's gone. We moved on, kind of scenario."
Yeah,
Uh,
because I mean, Dominic hurt his shoulder and he was still showing up every week.
and I think it's Finn's jealousy of, you know, you may have recruited me, Priest, to the Judgment Day, but I'm the main event. You're just a paper world champion.
Right. It's kind of
And
like
what
it's kind of like Damage Control, except Finn Balor is, yeah, you're the champion, but you're not gonna do what Io did to Bailey. You know,
mhm.
I that's not what's gonna happen. I feel like, yeah, I can see that that's what's going on. Um, I think I was gonna say JD, right? But for me, I feel like Liv Morgan is gonna almost cost Damian, but Finn Balor saves it. But it's to lead up to something where it's got you. It's like you said earlier, just to plant the seeds. And eventually, you know,
I think the other person that could have also helped me would be Carlito, so he can kind of gain that trust of Priest, being the
they're both
Boricua that's
Puerto
in the
yeah,
group.
they're both Puerto Ricans. So
Mm. You could always have Dom be knocked out backstage,
mm.
gives him an excuse not to be involved, and Liv is the one that's kind of like trying to protect him, take care of him. That's why I didn't count Liv. I would say maybe whatever match she gets involved in, thanks to him, she now goes and takes care of him, and then that's where you have JD, Carlito, and then Finn, like kind of like we'll be here for you, kind of we'll watch from afar. You
Mm.
know, they'll get involved, and as I said, I think Finn will be the title, and then JD kind of makes the save, makes him start trust JD more than Finn. And then eventually you plant the seeds. You have so many storylines that got to come out of all the now projecting ways down the road, and then afterwards you have Go come out, tease the standoff, or you know what, have him be at ringside the whole time, so he gets some involvement of, don't forget me. I'm the one who has the first class ticket to the world title match at Summer.
I forgot. I'm gonna be honest. I totally forgot about Gunther.
that's. Come on, man! The longest IC title win. What's going on?
I totally forgot about him. Um, but speaking about the IC title, Sami Zayn or Braun Breaker.
I say Sammy wins by roll up.
Mm.
He's gonna give Braun everything he has. He's gonna kick out of the Haluva kick, even 2 Haluva kicks. Braun's gonna kick. Braun's gonna be more pissed that Sammy's still kicking out, and Sammy's a pull off an upset win. It's too soon seeing Braun hold the IC title just now. When I think it's gonna be much more meaningful. Personally, I'd rather see him with the U.S. title, keep that same, continue the legacy of the Steiners. You know, his dad held it, his uncle held it, to win the IC title or the U.S. title. But yeah, you know, he'll get his flowers one day. I just don't think it's going to be this weekend. It is. Hey, you know, congratulations to him. He's exactly where he should be in the mid card. But I think it'd be good to have Sammy hold a little bit longer before he eventually drops it. And yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Braun
just
Breaker.
just barely survive.
Yeah, Braun. I feel like Braun Breaker is the right choice for Sami Zayn to drop the title too soon. I feel like if Sami Zayn had like if he did something like an open challenge where he faced all like 10 former IC champions, and then the number 10 or 11 is Braun Breaker, and then that's where it's like, damn, dude, you defeated all these guys, and then this one NXT call up, you lose to him, you know. But Sami Zayn didn't really have that moment. He had a great storyline, a great feud with Chad Gable. But it just like after that feud, I feel like his title reign kind of just started, you know, because I don't think about like I literally just forgot about Gunther. I forgot Sami Zayn took the title away from him. In my mind, Sami Zayn took the title away from Chad Gable just because of how he is right now. Gunther, he's in the main event for SummerSlam. He doesn't even look like he lost the title. Chad Gable looks like he lost that title. Like he was the one who hold that title for 666 days. And
Yeah,
he lost. He's the one. Look at him. You know? But I'm not changing my pick, but hear me out. Sami Zayn barely survives Braun Breaker, hits him with the spear. Chad Gable comes out with the briefcase. Cash in. Doesn't even just covers him. 1, 2, 3. Kind of doing like a Daniel Bryan with the Big Show when Mark Henry hit him with the DDT. And then Daniel Bryan just runs in. 1, 2, 3, kicks out after the 3. Chad Gable doing the same thing to Sami Zayn. And Braun Breaker just standing there looking at him. Or he could leave the ring. I don't care. That I feel like I'm not changing my prediction. I'm just saying how wild would that be? And also I'm just calling it. I just wanted to throw that out there just in case it does happen. I live, you know, that way I could be like, I called it. So I think that would be pretty crazy.
that's prediction. Nice way to end it. You got your after match situation, but I don't see Braun losing and not spearing somebody after the match.
Yeah, he is gonna spear
Whether
Sami Zayn.
whether it's Sammy, whether it's Chad, or even the referee for costing him.
Yeah, Braun Breaker is that the announce table is gonna be broken. It's gonna be mayhem. The whole actually, I'm pretty sure every match is the announce table is gonna be used. There's gonna be tables, chairs. I feel like every match is gonna be like chaos. It's only five
Well, that's where the
matches.
men's match is going to be for you. You know that both announcement tables are going to be
Yeah.
used with the men's.
Even if Jacob does show up, even though he's not going to be in the match, even if Solo's not in the match, it's only a 6 man. So it's still gonna be a handicap match. It's gonna be a 4-on-3. They should just be a 4-on-3.
Now, I said that Dom will be attacked backstage. What's this? They don't plan the same thing with Randy, Kevin Owens, or Cody. You could always
True.
have the bloodline try to get the advantage and attack one of them backstage. Maybe it's necessary to pull them from the match in the card, or just so that it gives them Randy. Randy's now starting to show fatigue. It's not that he's not in shape. It's just with that big of a body, and he was out of the ring. You know, he gets winded more these days. So, maybe to give him some breathing time, that maybe he'll be the one that gets knocked out stage, just so that it hypes up his entrance even more. What you did with Survivor Series.
Yeah.
You didn't use him until the last 2 minutes, just so he can get that win. Maybe
Right.
Randy comes out, kicks everyone's ass, RKO, and just as he's about to punch somebody, here comes Solo to spike him, and eventually that.
I like that. I wouldn't, yeah, I would say well, I wouldn't say Solo attack Randy. I would say maybe Jacob, and then at least that way Cody Rhodes could go in, disaster kick, crossroads, and then Solo hits him with the Samoan spike, and then that way he could cover Cody Rhodes and then make him the #1 contender. Because if the bloodline loses, right, it doesn't make sense for Solo
No.
to face Cody unless it's like a fatal 4-way match. Cody, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Solo at SummerSlam.
And that could be a stipulation they might even add on SmackDown. They could always say, okay, Jacob match, or he won't be we'll make it 6-on-6 if you put your title shot on the line. Jacob won't be part of the match. He'll word it so that he can get involved, but not be one of the participants. In exchange for Cody putting the title shot on the line, and if we win, Solo gets a world title shot at SummerSlam, or ways down, just to continue the storyline between Cody and the Bloodline, and then give match, because as we said, until he faces Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, other people that are creditable enough to face Cody right now. The biggest name, AJ Styles, and we already saw that match twice.
Yeah, we could have seen we could have gotten a third match on Money in the Bank. Yeah. We could have gotten a third AJ Styles match with Cody Rhodes on Money in the Bank, and then the 6-man tag team match could have happened at SummerSlam.
The I Quit match in the Bank, you could have had a last man standing the previous pay-per-view, PLE.
Oh yeah. A last man standing match and Money in the Bank could have been an I Quit match.
Except instead of a double dick kick, it could have been a double chair shot.
Yeah.
That would have been much more impressive. That would have been much more impressive. As both of them being so worn out, both of them having a chair in their hand, and they're waiting. They're reading the crowd,
right?
To
building just up that crowd,
double sync that chair shot, and then just knock each other.
Boom! Right there, right in the arm zone. It's gonna be so extremely painful because you won't be able to hit each other in the back, so it's gonna be right in the arm. So, but yeah, like even something like that would have been nice. Or even like a Shawn Michaels super kick, swing shit music, and both men are down, But for that, you would have to take, that person's finisher. Because I think what Triple H and Shawn Michaels did, it was Triple H hit the pedigree, both men got up, Shawn Michaels with the super kick, and then Shawn Michaels tried to get up, and then he fell back down. That's how you do a double no contest match,
Yeah.
not double kick in the groin. And I don't even think it was that wasn't even a last man standing match. That was a no disqualification match. Or I
No,
think
Sean and Triple H at Royal Rumble.
no, the Shinsuke and AJ Styles. I think it was just a regular one-on-one match.
No, one of them ended in disqualification from the low blow, but it
That was the
was
backlash one.
it was the last man standing double kick.
No,
The
it
double
was a
kick
no.
to the groin.
I think that was. Oh no, it was a no. It was a no disqualification match. So it ended in a low blow. So they both went down in a low blow, but the ref count them out. And the ref was like, "Well, no, there's countouts. It's just no disqualification." So it was a no disqualification match, but the match ended by countout because both men were down from a low blow. I think that happened when did that happen? Was it night? No. And then
It was the backlash that
backlash.
everybody walked out on because the main event was Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah, which was like a Monday Night Raw match. Yeah, and then the greatest Royal Rumble, I think that was the one where it ended in a oh, okay, now it's coming back to me. Backlash. The match ended by a double DQ when they both did a low blow. The greatest Royal Rumble, it ended in a no contest or count out. It ended in a count out.
Because then they had Money in the Bank, didn't they?
Yeah, and then Money in the Bank was a last man standing match.
Because after that, he started wrestling Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and then Samoa Joe SummerSlam ended in no disqualification. And it was just like, how do you
while he was wearing the Phenom clothes AJ Styles attire.
yeah.
That was an insult to under.
And it was like it was the first ever TNA like rematch. The first time WWE is doing a match that happened outside. That that didn't involve ACW, that didn't involve WCW, NWA. It involved TNA wrestling, and they ended it in a no disqualification.
Vince really, really didn't like AJ. Really, really didn't like TNA. And he really didn't let Joe be at his full potential.
Yep.
I really think if you had Triple H book Brock versus some, you would have had a much better match. Even if Brock had had a much better match than the crap they had at Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, even
you would have had
the
had
match
two
turned out
guys
the same.
You would have let it look like two guys were literally serious hell out of each other.
Yeah.
So Samoa Joe probably would have been the only guy that would have taken a receipt from Brock, given it back, and earned his respect. Versus when Braun did it, he didn't realize he kicked Brock too hard that Brock said, "Okay, here comes the receipt." and you saw Braun like, "Oh, okay,
my bad," and he didn't even apologize after that.
And he's a strong man, to have taken that.
Yeah. Hey, and surprisingly, he even admit that he said that it was so painful that he said he was surprised they didn't knock him out.
Yeah. Yeah, because he had to take some time off. That's why he had the squash match, Sheamus, the Bar. That's why he had the squash match against the Bar, because he wasn't going to be able to wrestle a full match.
Damn, that's crazy. So, can you imagine if Brock Lesnar was able to come back for Paul Heyman's aid?
There's a meme that actually teases that Paul Heyman's men, or Paul Heyman's advocates, the people that he's advocated for, are the ones that come first to face the bloodline. Now imagine being these guys with the original badass to be their manager to the ring. Roman, Brock, Punk, being led to the ring by the original gangster Undertaker.
Damn. Why the Undertaker?
Because he's the reason why Vince signed him. Paul was the one that snuck him into the WWE, and even Taker said, "I think I was the original Paul Heyman guy."
Mm,
He knew I had something, and as soon as Eric Bischoff fired me, he said, hey Vince, I got somebody for you."
damn. I didn't even knew that. So Paul Heyman basically sign
He
the
got Vince to
Undertaker.
sign.
That's crazy. And this whole time I thought it was like what's it called? Hulk Hogan.
No, he called. Yeah, Hulk wants to take the credit because he lies of Hulk Hogan.
I mean,
Uh,
the Undertaker was in that movie, so it wasn't like you know what I mean? I will understand if like the Undertaker wasn't part of that film.
I
But
think that was probably just to while they were trying to get him ready for series, and at the same time messing with him with the whole stupid egg thing.
mm, okay.
Um, but yeah, he introduced him to Bruce Pritchard when Vince to sign him.
Oh yeah, Bruce
That's why
Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard.
that's why he had Brother Love as manager through Ted DiBiase.
Oh yeah, Bruce. I keep forgetting about Brother Love. Brother Love is the other
Uh,
person where I keep thinking about like who signed the Undertaker.
that
Ooh,
was another
I
character that could
love
never
you.
another character that could never exist in the modern world.
Hey, cat. I
Eh,
love you.
on Netflix he can. On Netflix he can.
Oh
Not on
yeah.
USA. Not on Fox. Not with all the cancellation people.
Oh gosh. And then all those censors on Fox, that needs to stop. WWE Triple H was upset about that. With all that
That was
censored. That was
that was
horrible.
so horrible, man. Have had the audio cut out for like a good 2-3 minutes. I
And
can get
it,
a,
yeah.
seconds here and there, but like a good. I'm like, man, this production team is really horrible, and it turns out it's been Fox for the
Yeah.
time.
I thought it was my service. I thought because the screen would go black. And I'm like,
Like
oh,
ever
it's
since
my
Triple H took over,
service.
there's ever Triple H took over. I'm like, are these supposed to be like Easter eggs of like his failure or something? Because the messing up, the video team is messing up, the audio team is messing up, and the whole time it's not all from time to time, but it's been mostly Fox getting involved or USA getting involved, and the networks censoring or cutting things out.
And then what's his name? Kevin Dunn, right? He's not doing
No,
television production.
no,
So I
no,
thought it was part of that. So I thought it was part of him. Because he's not there no
no.
more. I thought it was because of my bad service, bad weather. But the whole time because the screen would go black. The audio, I'm cool with it. But why are you messing with my screen? That's where I'm getting confused. And it's like, you're messing with the screen too? Because of some fan in the background? What's the point? What's the point of the audience then?
Imagine if that fan from 2022, if that the greatest dad T-shirt fan showed up
Greatest.
on Fox or you or
Oh,
Benoit T.
oh, greatest dad shirt. Chris Benoit.
Well, it was that shirt said. I'm just calling him that because that's I didn't want to name drop him, but
Oh, I don't really
if he had
care.
showed up on USA or Fox, man, they definitely
Yeah.
would have cut the feed for several minutes.
It,
Then they would have told the guy
but
to like
it's
get out of the camera
yeah,
angle.
yeah, it's unnecessary because it's like, isn't that the whole point of the fans? Isn't that why we tune in? I mean, it's obviously because of the WWE superstar, but it's also because of the fans. The fans is what makes the shows. But I don't know why they have to keep censoring it, and it's just like I mean, it could just also be I mean, maybe they're doing it on purpose. Maybe they're just doing it because, I mean, they're going to Netflix. So what is, Stephanie McMahon made an announcement apparently that it's going to be uncensored. So that it's going to be, so when they go to Netflix, we're going to have the Attitude Era basically. So maybe that's why Fox
I'm
is
wondering
doing this to build it up.
if she's gonna start being on the board now. If she was able to make that announcement, not being a WWE TKO employee, maybe she's part of it now. Maybe they're gonna ask her to be part of the Wish again. She was the
Yeah,
one behind it.
I feel like she should. Everybody thought she'd be running the company.
Her
Everybody,
or Shane, or
yeah. Well, we
and
all
now
wanted
and
Stephanie.
now they're teasing. And now they're teasing Shane going to AEW.
That bro, the day that happens, the day that happens, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't even know what to do. I feel like I'll just be like, if that happens, I'm gonna tell you right now. That day happens. If Shane McMahon shows up at AEW, I'm just gonna be like, this is what I'm gonna say out loud. We are in 2001. The
Well,
day that
if he's
happens,
there,
that's what I'm gonna say out loud. We are in 2001. Somebody messed
I
up the
try to watch
timeline.
a I try to watch a full episode of AEW, and it's harder for me because it's just like how many of the critics have said it. It's too. It feels too scripted for me. Like it, I don't get the real selling. At least from a character standpoint, no, you got your MJF, you got Edge, you got the
Mhm.
experienced guys, yes. Guys that are like just trying a little too hard, or they're just not ready yet, and they need that right manager. Um, I think if Shane to get involved, maybe he's that person can tell Tony Khan, like, you know what? Here's the board. This is everything you're doing wrong. You're looking at too much from it from perspective. You're not looking at it from a managerial perspective. And here's a list of things you can improve it. Now it's up to
Right.
you if you want me to continue with this. But if you make this a real success, I can help you. Uh, maybe not be such an on-screen character. Maybe be a guy that's behind. Maybe
And see, that's what I was gonna say. Or well, I was gonna let you finish, but I'm glad you mentioned it. Shane going to AEW behind the scene, 100%. 50-50 behind the scene and in front of the camera? No. Front of the camera, I don't see the point, but sure, I guess. I like why would you want to do that, you know? Like I wouldn't see the point of
other than to
signing
get the
him.
ratings up for that one moment, just for that. Oh, it happened. He's there. Okay,
Oh yeah,
then
for
what?
that, for a special appearance showing up, of course, yeah, do it. But to say here's a contract, Shane, I want you to be an on-screen character, why? Unnecessary. But to have Shane on the show, yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But that's something you would definitely, even to have a match, even to build up a match or something. Do something where Jeff Jarrett did with Global Force when they went to invade TNA, where it was just like, oh, it's from lockdown of April to Bound for Glory October, where it's like, oh, do something like that with Shane. I'm gonna be here from Forbidden Door all the way to All Out or All In, and then see ya. You know, I feel
Yeah,
like that'd be cool to help out Shane McMahon to team up with Tony Khan to face the elites. That'd be
now, if you ever want to
that'd be
use
hilarious.
if you ever want to use the pay per view War of the Worlds, that could probably be the one promotional pay per view where you can introduce the major brands:
Yeah,
WWE, TNA, AEW, New Japan,
if Tony Khan was a smart
something like
man.
that.
I will say this: Tony Khan is a matchmaker, and he is not a booker, and that's who he needs to hire is a booker. Um, But going back to what you said about Shane having a board, this is what you're doing right. This is what you're doing wrong. You have AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, Ring of Honor. What I don't understand is why can't you do AEW Rampage or AEW and Collision? This is my business. This is where story matters. This is where I need you guys to this if I'm telling you you have 10 minutes, you have 10 minutes. Ring of Honor, Rampage, your match card. Do your wallet, whatever you want to see Kenny Omega versus Okada for an hour, Rampage. If you cannot wait for a pay-per-view, do it at Rampage. Dynamite Collision, okay, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus Okada because we're gonna build up this match for Rampage because it's only a 1 hour show. Ring of Honor, that's where you give the people you guys are good. I love your character. You guys have a good gimmick, but the crowd is just not feeding into you guys. So instead of putting you guys in front of 10,000 people, I'm gonna put you guys in front of 5,000 people.
Yeah, why make it the developmental
Yeah,
program for make it the NXT
yeah.
AEW.
You
Develop
have,
your
yeah.
talent.
Not every show has to be a match card. Just I just don't understand that. But he wants to. It's just like it's like a video game to him. What do I
Yeah,
want to it's honestly, have you I'm pretty sure you've done this where you just put computer mode on and you just watch them wrestled because you just wanted the background noise. I've done it before where it's like I just want to hear the background noise of the game, so I just have everybody on computer mode, or I'm playing the Elimination Chamber and I'm entering number 6, so I just leave my controller aside and everybody else is wrestling. It's like that's what Tony Khan does. Who do I want to see wrestle? I oh this okay, I'm done with this. What do I want to see wrestle next? This. It's like Tony Khan clearly played the WWE 2K storyline where he was the GM for Raw, SmackDown, ECW, where he just went, what do I want? What match do I want? Whatever I want.
right.
And just did, fatal 4-way, 6-way. Bro, Dante Martin shattered his knee in a ladder match after doing a Canadian Destroyer. Tony Khan put him back in that match. Did Tony Khan, I didn't watch it, but did Tony Khan talk to him and say, hey, man, can I trust you to put you back in this ladder match? You don't do the Canadian Destroyer, right? Don't, this is just so you could get a payday. You're going to do one crazy spot. Don't do a Canadian Destroyer. You know what? I'm sorry, but I would not put him in that match. This is the same match you destroyed your leg in and your back. I would put him in the again. I don't know. It's like I would give him the talk though. It's like, hey, I'm gonna put you in this match to conquer your fear, so that way you could just rip the band-aid. You have to conquer this moment. But please be safe. Do not do the Canadian Destroyer. It's unnecessary. You know. But no, he's just here. You go. I'm gonna put you in this match again. And then the one guy, and then I'm sorry, but the guy who broke his leg, I would have had him win the TNT title, and then I would have had Jungle Boy beat him for the title. Because I'm like, that's just crazy to me, bro. It's crazy to me, especially if it's a work. The guy who
Yeah,
broke his leg, you can't make him. You put him back in that ladder match, and you're not gonna have him win. What's next? Adam Coleman's gonna make his return, and he's gonna put himself in another barbed wire cage match, and nobody's gonna tell him, hey man, uh you're almost 50, you don't need to jump off a ladder. Why are you jumping off a ladder? Why I mean, not a ladder, off a cage. There's barbed wires for a reason. So you don't go up there. I don't think you should. I guess we're both two former WWE guys, but I guess we don't have the experience. But that's why Adam went over there, so he could do that kind of spots.
And now look what happened.
That's what he wants.
It's what he said he wants, and then watch him saying, "I thought I wanted that."
Yeah, and either in Stone Cold's podcast or the Undertaker's podcast or Chris's podcast 5 years from now, or maybe Christian's Adam, the awesome podcast.
Yeah.
5-10 years, Adam's gonna say, "I
While,
regret."
while they try and sell their planking devices.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I've been seeing those. Do they really sell those? Are they the inventor or are they ambassadors?
They're the inventor because they said how they had to create items that were going to benefit them that they could probably sell to the market because wanted to make a profit off of it and have their own exercise helps other people that are already worn out years of abuse of their own bodies but still want to try and maintain shape with the exercises that take too much out of them.
Oh, so guys who jump off steel cages over 40 then. Okay.
Or just break their joints on a routine basis.
After what's it called? Being told that they are not able to wrestle again for 10 years. Some people, there's some people that got hurt and before their career, before they can even say they had a wrestling career. And there's guys who are just taking it for granted. But hey, good for them, good for them. Any last comments or any last thing you want to say for AEW or for Money in the Bank? I don't recall if we ever said our picks. I think we did. Solo, right? Bloodline going over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. I said Solo covering Cody. Okay. Coming back to me. I do got something if I could find it. Oh, it's a little quiz thing. I'm pretty sure you know the answer. Can you name all 3 2 times Money in the Bank winners? I'm gonna be honest.
I'll see.
One
I can answer 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say I answered 2.
I don't know. I can't even go with the third one. See, because the third one's probably gonna be a trick answer.
I want to hear you.
Carmella. Carmella is the second one.
Carmelo is not one of the choices. No, she's not one of the choices.
She's not one of the choices. It happened twice in the same week.
No, well, when I found the answer, she's not one of the answers. I guess I still consider her as one time. I don't know. I didn't make the question, dude. I'm just giving you the question, and the answer's right here. And there's only 3 answers. But obviously, when I heard the question, the first 2 it took me easy like that. The third one I did eventually got it, but it took me a long time. I totally forgot about it. So
2 times.
So you said CM Punk. That's right. That's one of the right answers. So you need 2 more. And he was one of my first picks.
You're not telling me you're counting Edge.
Yeah, Edge.
How?
Mr. Anders,
The winner
Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy. So
Yeah,
by that logic, you're saying Miz.
yeah,
What the? See, this is what I said. It doesn't make sense. It would make more sense to Carmella because she had to win it a second time.
yeah. That I was gonna say that. Like, well, for me, I wouldn't consider Carmella because remember, James is the one who took the briefcase down. To me, that Money in the Bank match was to me that was like a no contest to me. So I wouldn't consider that one. The the CM Punk was like the only one where I was like, yeah, CM Punk. And then I was like, and then I started
And he only
thinking
won the first one because
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy failed his drug test
Yeah. And then
before WrestleMania.
before WrestleMania, first of all, who drug tests before WrestleMania?
And why was he the only one that failed?
Right.
You're
And then
gonna
and then
sit
he
there and tell me, as jacked and lean as Triple H was, he was not on steroids. We knew, but Stephanie is the reason why he always had to never take the drug test.
and then going back, what's funny is do you remember how the DVD of the best of the world for CM Punk, how he was saying how he was complaining how he was world champion. And it was like, bro, you're complaining about a spot that you're not even supposed to be in. That spot, it's not even supposed to, it wasn't even supposed to be Jeff Hardy's spot. He was supposed to be the briefcase holder, But then the Undertaker got hurt. Jeff Hardy's out. So they trusted you and say, let's just give the briefcase to this guy. And then you got rewarded the world heavyweight title. They could have, hey, you're gonna be the first failed cash in. He even thought he was gonna be the first failed cash in.
And I think Jeff was supposed to be the only one that cashed ECW title too. It made it still a world title at the time. I think they were gonna have him.
Yeah, he was gonna cash
bring
in
it back to being a world title.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy. That's what I heard too. Jeff Hardy was gonna cash it in on the ECW title, or he was gonna cash it in on the world heavyweight title. And then, but if he was gonna cash it in, it wasn't gonna be sorry. If it was gonna be like a running cash in, it was gonna be on Edge. So he was gonna do something like a here you go Swanton cover. And then if it was gonna be for the title, he was gonna cash it in on the Undertaker and that was gonna be like an actual match. And do you know? I don't know how true this is, but do you know for what match that Jeff Hardy was gonna cash it in on? It was gonna be for the Extreme Rules match that he had with the Undertaker. Like I don't know how true that is, because that was like I heard that rumor back then. But that was like basically
So
that was
supposed to be. It was supposed to be him instead of Taker and Edge, because it was Edge and Taker. See, at ECW One Night Stand.
for one match, One Night Stand.
Because it was, I think that was the last one night pay-per-view.
06?
08.
08. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, because that was the TLC match.
Yeah, because remember that was the year that Batista faced HBK and
oh yeah, I forgot. It was the one night. I forgot it was called One Night Stand at that time.
After that, they did Extreme Rules.
Yeah. So One Night Stand. Yeah. So that was the pay-per-view that we were supposed to get Jeff Hardy and the Undertaker. Like the Undertaker. So I guess that's why maybe they had two choices with the ECW or the world title, where it's like, oh, Jeff Hardy's gonna cash in. It's gonna be either the ECW and the world title, but it's gonna be a One Night Stand. So
because in the week or two afterwards was when they did and that's when 3 weeks later they did Vengeance, which is when Batista lost once again to Edge. Then the week after, and CM Punk cashed in on the draft night.
I think it was the same night on Raw. That following Raw.
It was draft night, yeah, because because Batista came out to mock Batista because he had to go to Raw. He was not going to get a
Oh yeah,
shot at the world
yes. Oh
title.
yeah. So the night, yeah, the draft happened the week before the Night of Champion. So that's why that was Batista's last chance match. And then Batista showed up that following Raw or no, Edge showed
Him
up
and then
that
let
following
CM
Raw.
Punk.
Yeah, because he was taking the title to SmackDown. Because Edge was on Raw, but he was going back to SmackDown, or Batista got drafted to. It was one or the other. Yeah,
Then they
okay.
ended up swapping the world titles
Yeah.
afterwards.
And then the world title stayed because of CM Punk. So I feel like what if that was supposed to be Jeff Hardy moment? I mean, that could have been Jeff Hardy's moment. Maybe it wasn't going to be at One Night Stand. It
Maybe it
could
was going to
have.
be that Monday Night Raw cashing
Yeah.
in.
But it's crazy to me where it's like, did anybody ever told? I feel like did I clearly nobody told CM Punk where it's like I feel like if they would have told CM Punk saying, "Hey man, you're not supposed to be in the spot. This is supposed to be Jeff Hardy's spot." So make sure you run with it because, I feel like it was more of a, hey, Punk, here's the briefcase. And Punk was like, oh, I guess I'm doing something right. And then when he won the world title and he's not getting that push where it's like, wait, why'd you guys give me the title? You know?
I'm wondering if that's why it's. I don't know if you played the SmackDown versus Raw from that one. SmackDown versus Raw 2008 was with Taker, Bobby Lashley, and John Cena on the cover. And in a general manager mode, the general manager mode was different in that one because you were creating storylines as a general manager. As long as you played it show per show, you were creating the storyline as a general manager and playing as your superstars. Um,
Mm.
and within that storyline, you had Punk and Jeff Hardy have an alliance kind of thing. Punk was getting knocked out mysteriously by people, um, and he was trying to find out who in ECW was doing it.
Right.
Um, eventually leads to CM Punk and Jeff Hardy having an ECW world title. I guess Jeff Hardy was behind it the whole time, but I guess that was that story build that was supposed to happen on the show. CM Punk was the ECW champion before WrestleMania. You're gonna get that title back, but
Drop.
because he got inserted into the Money in the Bank spot because relinquished his spot because he tested positive. Um, maybe that was what was supposed to happen. Maybe CM Punk was supposed to win the ECW title back, and then Jeff Hardy would eventually cash in on the original plan to cash in the briefcase on the ECW title.
So it seems like CM Punk, because if when you go back, the three guys, well, four guys that was supposed to be the face of the company was of ECW was Chris Benoit, RVD, CM Punk, and then Jeff Hardy. And then who eventually went down to ECW, his brother Matt Hardy.
Yep. And by the time Matt held it, it was a mid card belt.
Yep. Matt Hardy couldn't. Matt, we as WWE fans, we tried our best to acknowledge the ECW for Matt Hardy as the world title. We tried, but it was just the matches he was having, the feuds that he was having, the storylines was just mid card.
And that's not kidding around. That belt design was horrific.
It was that title change was like, I'm gonna be honest, I had mixed feelings for it. I liked the title, I liked the silver, was a little I liked the title. The fact that if somebody said, hey, look at this title, right? I like it. 8 out of 10. Hey, look at this ECW title. Ill. What do you mean? That's the ECW title.
There's nothing extreme about it. It be an mid card built by the design,
Yeah.
and then every person afterwards, with the exception to Mark Henry, it just showed that it was never going to be a main event title. Even with Christian being that great
Christian
champion he was,
Christian
he
tried
made
to
that
save it. He
valuable.
tried his
But
best. Him and William Regal. William Regal did not hold the title, but his rivalry with Christian, they tried their best to make that title mean something again.
you know who I wish that would have that maybe would have helped elevate it even more and didn't?
Who?
Shelton Benjamin before he left.
Why you gotta piss me off? Oh, that ladder match, bro. Christian versus Shelton Benjamin. The opening match was the main event. That ECW title match, that is the last ECW title match ever. That's the one. I don't care what happened after that. That is the last ever ECW title match.
Yeah.
And Shelton Benjamin should have won that one. Why could it? It is going back to what I just said. We tried our best as fans to consider it as a main event title for Matt Hardy and Christian. Shelton Benjamin, he couldn't just have it. Vince already treated it. Oh, this title doesn't mean anything. And
Yep.
you still couldn't give it to Shelton Benjamin?
Here's what I would have done for the Schultz. First of all, if he would have won it, I would have had him a new design so that he can start a second phase of the gold standard
I was
and
gonna say
have
that.
a real gold standard title reign.
Yeah. Even if it was
Even
still
even
treated
if,
a mid card, he would have made it work.
even if you were going to dissolve ECW and then start with FCW, I feel like that would have been the perfect time to have made FCW, which was at that time. What was it? What was the development territory? It was under
OVW?
OVW. Yeah,
Oh,
OVW.
I
So
didn't know what you were trying
OVW
to get
eventually
at,
evolved.
especially at that time.
OVW eventually evolved into FCW. Instead of it just being a non-televised show, let it be televised so that you could see your uh, your next set of talent. You know, young Roman Reigns, young Dean Ambrose, young Seth Rollins,
Yeah, I feel
and
like they should never
it's through
drop
Shelton
ECW.
Benjamin with that title as the gold standard. Let him run
Yeah,
with it for a while. Let him have those open challenges with the young guys, and let him build those guys up.
bro. All they had to do was change the E to the F.
Yeah,
That's all they had to do. That's all they
and
needed to do.
that FCW looked a lot nicer too than the ECW title did.
They did.
It was a standard championship that represented the whole brand.
And FCW was basically the Impact Zone.
Yeah, because Dusty was booking everything.
Yeah.
So you would have had the right booker made.
And who booked
standard.
NWA TNA? Who booked TNA?
Oh, Vince.
Dusty booked TNA. Imagine if Dusty booked ECW.
Or at least let Paul be creative.
Yeah. Paul Heyman said it. Why are you bringing ECW back if you're not going to let me run it? Let's call it something else. NXT, FCW, OVW, WCW. But I will say this. You know who could have saved ECW? the SmackDown roster. Shelton Benjamin, the gold standard. The Brian Kendrick, Jeff Hardy, even CM Punk if he would have gone back to ECW.
Yeah.
He should have. Who else? MVP. Those 4 guys would have been perfect for ECW. And if you would have added Matt Hardy and eventually Christian, and then you would have Jeff Hardy, Punk, Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, Christian. Then eventually Edge would have been like, damn, let me go down there.
Yep.
Then The Undertaker. Yep. Then Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
Whew. All right. Well, this wraps up this show, this prediction. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Hit that like and subscribe. Andre, once again, thank you. Oh, well, hold on. I think I got one more thing. Where'd it go? Oh, okay. It's called Fantasy Booking. Fantasy Booking, smash, push, title match. I'm going to give you, so basically how this works, right? Each match, I got a squash match, I got a push match. Squash match means obviously a squash match. This person's going to get, boom, done, eliminated. 3-minute match. Barely going to get any moves in. Maybe a couple punches, maybe a couple kicks. I don't care. Maybe you want this person to lose in 30 seconds, right? Now, a push is somebody who is trying to be in that main event status. All right. And in a title match, I'm going to give you a random title and you tell me if that person goes over or not. So for the squash match, in one corner, I got Goldberg. In the push match, I got Randy Orton. And in a title match, I got the WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes. Now, here are the challengers. Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, and Braun Breaker. Which of these 3 men are you going to put them in a match? Which one is going to go in a squash match against Goldberg? Which one are you going to push? Give them a push to give them that opportunity to see if they should, deserve a title match against Randy Orton, or who are you going to put them in the main event in the world title match against Cody Rhodes? You got Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, or Braun Breaker.
I'm going to put Braun in the squash match just so that Goldberg can finally retire because he says he wants a retirement match.
Okay, fair. It's getting late.
And it gives
Braun
exposure.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you that question again, but right now I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you finish because it's late. So go ahead. Go ahead.
You,
so you're
so
gonna
you
Braun
said
Breaker,
Goldberg, right? Goldberg is a squash match, so it's Braun.
Braun Breaker. Damn, wow.
Let him have his match. Let him have his match with the world champion. Lose just so that retire Goldberg and he stays retired. Sammy versus Randy Orton.
Okay.
And Chad Gable versus Cody.
I'm gonna be honest. I had a feeling about Breaker. Sammy and Chad, I would have thought you would have switched them. Wait, you said Chad? Wait, sorry. Yes. No, wait. I think you did say who you said. I thought you were gonna say. You said Chad Gable for
Sammy versus Randy Orton. Chad versus Cody.
Okay, never mind. I thought you were gonna say Chad versus Randy, and then Sammy versus Cody. That's what I thought you were gonna go. Sorry, I thought that's what you said. I'm getting confused myself now. Jeez. So who you said is who I thought you were gonna say. There you go. But for me, I would say Sami Zayn for squash. Sorry, Chad Gable gets squashed by Goldberg. Just because if we're talking about at this moment right now, would make sense. And also to give that retirement, because for me, I felt like they should have gave that retirement match at WrestleMania 38. When Gold, I feel like I forgot why I thought this, but I felt like Goldberg should have faced Austin Aries, or sorry, Austin Theory. Goldberg should have faced Austin Theory at WrestleMania 38. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I said that, but I felt like at that time, I don't know. Maybe something happened that maybe there was a buildup or something.
Mhm.
Um, Braun Breaker for Randy Orton, obviously because of their father's legacy, and then Sami Zayn with Cody Rhodes because I feel like that's just a fun match. But if I have a preference, I would prefer El Genetico versus Cody Rhodes. Well, hold on, El Genetico versus Stardust. That's the match I want to see. That's the match I want to see right there.
Okay,
So,
so I think to answer your question that you thought of, you were Goldberg versus somebody. I think it was supposed to be Goldberg versus Matt Riddle because he was constantly at the
mm,
time he was constantly teasing facing Goldberg and Brock, and both of them said it's not going to happen. I
mm,
a spot where Goldberg directly tells Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's like, "Come on, bro, come on." He was trying to get him to like think about the match, and Goldberg was already fed up with his antics to the point where he was saying, "I'm not going to wrestle. It's never going to happen. You can keep asking me 1,000 times. I'm going to keep telling you 1,000 times. You prove to me that you deserve to have a match with me," kind of thing. And then
yeah.
Brock was just kind of this. To Brock is the same thing as when you were where people were asking him, "Hey, how do you feel about facing Daniel Bryan, facing McGregor?" And Brock was like, "Why?" Until you gain Brock respect as an individual, then he will. Yeah, I'll work with him.
Yeah.
That's why he was willing to work with Ricochet because he's like, okay, I respect him. I respect Finn. I respect Daniel, and I'll have an actual match with Daniel Bryan. Um, but when you just kind of insert yourself without, you know, going fully and saying, "Hey, Brock, I'd like to have a match with you. How do you feel about it? Have you seen my matches?" And he was like, "No." Almost the same kind of concept as Goldberg. He was telling him, "No, you're not going to get a match.
It's kind of
I don't
like
like you."
it's kind of like Triple H. Triple H has somebody because there's always somebody going up to, hey, what do you think about this person, this person? But Triple H says there's this one person that comes up to him and says, hey, what are you interested in this person? Well, if he got your attention, of course I'm interested. I feel like Brock Lesnar is probably the same thing where if they're going up to him and saying, hey, are you okay working with this person? It's like the fact that you're coming up to me and asking me, I feel like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Um, but it's not, I don't think it's like, yeah, I'll work with him or I'll put him over. It's like, yeah, I'll work with him. What are we building up to? Like, I can't just lose to anybody. Am I losing? Am I winning? Okay, how can we make this look good if I'm gonna lose, Because obviously I don't need to look strong. I'm gonna look strong regardless. Even if I beat him in 5 minutes or in 30 minutes, I'm gonna look strong.
Yep.
So, but how do we make this look good when I lose? And that's why Brock Lesnar hardly lose. And then it's funny how people say that Brock Lesnar is so difficult to work with. Then how come he has so many classic matches with The Undertaker?
How come even on matches he loses, he's willing to sell for the guy that he's facing, even when it's a little guy? I mean, dude, he sold Ray and Dom's double kick 619. He kicked out of it even after taking two splashes, one from each guy.
Yeah,
But
oh yeah.
he sold for him.
And a metal pipe. Took a metal pipe too to the head. And
Yeah,
I so and he lost to Drew in front of zero crowd.
if he likes them, he's willing to work with them. If he doesn't respect you at all, he's not gonna give you 2 minutes in a match. He's not gonna give you time.
Brock
So
Lesnar could have, yeah.
there's a form of personal respect when it's Brock willing to work with guys.
Brock Lesnar could have easily just say, "You're gonna hit me with this Claymore, 1, 2, 3. That's it." At WrestleMania in front of 0 people. But Brock Lesnar said, "No, we're gonna go 5 minutes. 5 minutes, F5." It's the same move that we would have got in front of the crowd because it was like 12, 13, 14 matches in 4 hours.
The only difference is you didn't get we were robbed of the standoff. You probably would have gotten that Hogan Rock standoff. They're just looking at the crowd, eating and soaking. I don't think you were going to get the Brock and Goldberg WrestleMania 20.
No.
The fans were super behind Drew, and he didn't get that moment because you probably would have gotten that holy shit chant.
Yeah. That
And then thank you, Drew.
That face off, that's what you said. Like that's actually perfect. That's what we were robbed from. We got the match that we were gonna get regardless. But that face off of Brock and Drew, the face off that we got at the Royal Rumble, and then the face off that we should have gotten at WrestleMania, that's the one thing we got robbed from. So, but never say never. Hopefully we get Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre once again. Um, I mean, Drew McIntyre, I think he deserves a WrestleMania moment. I think WrestleMania 41 should be the place, but most likely it's not gonna happen. WrestleMania 42, most likely it's gonna be in the UK. So, all right, Andre, thanks once again, and this is it for this episode. Till next time, we are out. Doo-doo-doo.
Yay!